If I Ran the Circus by Dr. Seuss. In all the whole town, the most wonderful spot is behind Sneelock's store in the big vacant lot. It's just the right spot for my wonderful plans, said young Morris McGurk, if I clean up the cans. Now, a fellow like me, said Mr. Morris McGurk, could get rid of this junk with half an hour's work. I could yank up those weeds and chop down that dead tree, and the whole of those old cars, they're just 2 or 3, and then the whole place would be ready, you see. All ready to put up the tents for my circus. And I think I will call it the Circus McGurkus. The Circus McGurkus, the world's greatest show on the face of the earth, or wherever you go. The Circus McGurkus, the cream of the cream. The Circus McGurkus, the circus supreme. The Circus McGurkus, colossal, stupendous, astounding, fantastic, terrific, tremendous. I'll bring in my acrobats, jugglers and clowns from 1,033 faraway towns to the place that you'll see him in, ladies and gents, right behind Sneelock's store in the great McGurk's tents. And I don't suppose old Mr. Sneelock will mind when he suddenly has a big circus behind. After all, Mr. Sneelock is one of my friends. He might even help out doing small odds and ends. Doing little odd jobs, he could be some aid, such as selling balloons and pink lemonade. I think 500 gallons will be about right, and then I'll be ready for the opening night. What an opening night! What a night! What a sight! I'll hoist up the curtains, the crowds will crowd in, and my Circus McGurkus will promptly begin with a welcoming toot on my welcoming horn, by the horn-tooting apes from the jungle of Jawn, where the very best horn-tooting apes are all born. Because the very fresh air there is fine for their lungs, and some of those fellows have 2 or 3 tongues. This way, step right in. This way, ladies and gents. My sideshow starts here in the best of tents. When you see what goes on, you'll say no other circus is half the great circus that Mr. McGurkus is. Here, on stage 1, from the ocean of Ulf, it's a sight most amazing, a walrus named Rolf. You can stand on one whisker, this wonderful Rolf, on top of 5 balls, 2 for tennis, 3 for golf. It's a marvelous trick if I say so myself. And on stage number 2, here is something quite new. From a country called From comes this Drum-Tummied Snumm, who can drum any tune that you might care to hum. Doesn't hurt him a bit because his drum tummy's numb. And you'll now meet the Foon, the remarkable Foon, who eats sizzling hot peppers that fall off the moon. And the reason he likes them red hot, it appears he greatly enjoys blowing smoke from his ears. Of course pebbles like this are quite hard to collect, but Sneelock will manage, somehow I expect. After all, Mr. Sneelock is one of my friends, and I'm sure he'll help out for doing small odds and ends. And on stage number 4, see the wily Waloo, who can throw his long tail as a sort of lasso. With a flip over the hip, with a tail of his kind, he can capture whoever is standing behind. He can capture old Sneelock. I'm sure he won't mind. And now here is a hoodwink, who winks in his wink hood. Without a good wink hood, a hoodwink can't wink good. And folks, let me tell you, there's only one circus with wink-hooded hoodwinks, the Circus McGurkus. The shows of all shows, there's no other showman who shows you a show with the blindfolded bowman. The blindfolded bowman from Brigger Brute, the world's sharpest sharpshooter. Look at him shoot! Through the holes in 4 donuts, 2 hairs and a worm, and the knees of 3 birds without making them squirm. and then on threw a crab apple up on the head of Sneelock, who likes to help out, as I've said. And now, come to this spot where the spotlight is hot, and you'll see in the spotlight a juggling Jott who can juggle some stuff you might think he could not. Such as 22 question marks, which is a lot. Also 44 commas, and also 1 dot. That's the kind of Circus McGurkus I've got. But that's just my sideshow. A start, a beginning. This way to the big tent, you'll find your head spinning. Why, ladies and gentlemen, youngers and olders, your head will quite likely spin right off your shoulders. So hurry up, step lively, a quick ladies and gents, and get into your seats in my tent of all tents. My parade of parades is about to commence. You'll see Drum Major Sneelock fling his baton, and my organ McGurkus come on. With its hot steaming pipes of gold brass-plated tin, snorting all sorts of snorts in bumbling din. That's super stupendous, 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 and when I play Dixie, please join in the chorus. Then a fluff-mouthed truffle will ride on a huffle, and next in line, a flying flummox will shuffle. The flummox will carry a lurch in a pail, and the fibble will carry the flummox's tail. While on top of the flummox, 3 harp twanging snarp will twang mighty twangs on a 3 snarper's harp, while a bowser blows bloops on a 3 nozzle blueser, and a nostril blows floops on a 1 nozzle snoozer. And then comes a lion, who's partly a trout, then more stuff for 45 minutes about. And then, behind them, then while everyone stares, comes my toe and fro marchers, who march in 5 layers. And the fro's march on toes, and the toes march on fro's. Don't know how they do it, but that's how it goes. And now comes an act of enormous enormance. No formers performed this performance. The stunt is too grippingly, slippingly frightening. Down from the top of my tent like greased lightning, through pots of full lots of big tricklebush trees, slides a man, what a man, on his roller skis. And he'll steal without fear, and you'll know at a glance that it's Sneelock, the man who takes chance after chance, and he won't even rip a small hole in his pants. And now here, in his cage, is a beast most ferocious, who's known far and wide as a spot is atrocious, who growls, howls, and yowls the most blood-curdling sounds, and each tooth in his mouth weighs at least 60 pounds. And he chews up and eats with the greatest of ease things like carpets and sidewalks and people and trees. But the great con Sneelock is the just right kind of a man who can tame him. I'm sure he won't mind. Then I'll let Sneelock off for a few minutes rest, while high over your head you will see the best of the world's finest, fanciest, breezing trapezing, my Zoom Upper Zoom troupe from the West Upper Bendizing, who would never quite know when they zoop and they zoom, whether which will catch one or who will catch whom, or of who will catch which by the what and just where, or of when and just how in which part of the air. Ay, what a circus! My Circus McGurkus! My workers love work, they say. Workers, please work us! We'll work and we'll work up so many surprises. You'll never see half if you had 40 eyes. And now, again Sneelock! Brave Sneelock is back, risking life on my patent and life-risking track. While the speedsters I call my colliding collusions race round the swift cars called abrasion contusions. And Sneelock just lies there, not one bit excited. I know he won't mind. He's simply delighted. And here, in a contest of brute strength and muscle, Kid Sneelock, my champ of all champs, will now tussle and wrestle a beast called the Grizzly Ghastly, and will slap him around, then he'll slap him down fastly. And pin both his shoulders tight flat to the mat. Kid Sneelock will love it, I'm sure about that. And while that goes on there, and look at this go on here. Have you heard of my herd of through horn jumping deer? Every deer jumps through horns for another pell-mell, while his horns are jumped through at the same time as well. By a deer whose horns also are being jumped through, by another who's having his horns jumped through too, which I'm sure trainer Sneelock can train them to do. Then the whole tent will ring with hoorays and wild shouts, while I will wheel my wails and they'll turn on their spouts. First my wail number 1, with an aim that aims true, from a spout to a spout, Sneelock well to number 2. And then wail number 2 spouts his spout like a gun, and that spout spouts old Sneelock right back to wail 1. And then forwards and backwards, just spout after spout, my great spout rider Sneelock gets spouted about, just as long as the water the spouting holds out. Then my tournament knights, noble apes without fear, Sir Hector, Sir Vector, Sir Bobs and Sir Beers, Sir Hawking, Sir Dorking, Sir Jorks and Sir Jeers, clatter into the tent, and while everyone cheers, stage a rout about joust with their boxing glove spears. And while all this wild ruckusing goes on below, at the top, look at the tent, look, the star of my show! The great Daredevil Sneelock, the world's bravest type. He comes pulled through the air by 3 Serbian snipes on a dingus contraption attached to his pipe. And while people below are turning chalk white and biting their fingernails off their fright, great Sneelock soars up to a terrible height. Then he shakes himself loose, he starts down in a dive, such as no man on earth could come out alive. But he smiles as he falls, and no fear does he feel. His nerves are like iron, his muscles like steel. And down he plunges, down, down, with his hair still combed neat, and 4,692 feet. Then he lands in a fishbowl. He'll manage just fine. Don't ask how he'll manage. That's his job, not mine. Why, he'll be your hero. Of course he won't mind when he finds out he has a big circus behind.